Hi everyone, today we're going to use the key features of a parabola to graph it. So if we begin on graph A, we have a vertex of 1, -4. We can plot this point by going over 1 and down 4. This will be our vertex. Our axis of symmetry will go through the vertex at x is equal to 1. We know that our minimum value is going to be y equals -4 because that's the y-coordinate of the vertex. We can't figure out our x-intercepts or our y-intercepts just yet. We'll need to use our step pattern to find some other points besides the vertex on this parabola. The step pattern says that we're going to go up 1, up 3, up 5. So we'll begin at the vertex and we'll go over 1, over 1, up 3, and over 1, up 5. We can mirror these points in our axis of symmetry to be able to draw the entire parabola, including both sides. This will now allow us to locate our x-intercepts. We can see that the parabola crosses the x-axis at -1, 0 and at 3, 0. Our y-intercept will be 0, -3. Because this parabola opens up, we have an optimal value that is a minima, and it occurs at -4. In graph B, we're given a vertex of 0, 10, so we know this will also be the y-intercept. We can plot this point. We'll draw our axis of symmetry through this point as well, because the axis of symmetry always goes through the vertex. This will help us to determine that there will be an optimum value of y equals 10 and an axis of symmetry of x equals 0. We'll use our step pattern to count over 1 down 3, over 1 down 9, and then we should go over 1 down 15, but we'll run out of space and won't be able to draw this third point. We can, however, reflect the points that we found in our axis of symmetry. This will allow us to sketch the parabola, and although we can't exactly locate our x-intercepts in this parabola, we can estimate them that they are around -1.8, 0 and 1.8, 0. This is approximate. We don't know the exact values. We'd need to use algebra to find them. That's for a future lesson. Let's learn more about graphing a parabola and its key features by looking at a form called the vertex form of a quadratic. In vertex form, the quadratic reveals the coordinates of the vertex. The number out front of the brackets, or the a value, will tell us the direction of opening for the parabola. If it's a positive number, the parabola will open up, and if it's a negative number, the parabola will open down. It also tells us the step pattern multiplier. In other words, we know that the step pattern is 1, 3, 5. Our a value will multiply each of those to give us our new step pattern. The x-coordinate of our vertex can be found by looking inside the brackets and taking the value of h and making it its opposite integer. And finally, our y-coordinate of our vertex can be found at the end of the vertex form in the value known as k. So let's look at graph number 1 and let's graph this parabola. It's given to us in vertex form. We can find the vertex by switching the sign of the term inside of the brackets from being a -4 to being a +4. That'll be our x-coordinate of the vertex. And then the constant or k value at the end, the -8, will be our y-coordinate of our vertex. So our vertex will be at 4, -8. We can plot this point. From there, we will use the step pattern multiplier of 3 to multiply each of the 1, 3, and 5 terms in our step pattern. This will give us a step pattern of 3, 9, 15. So we'll start at our vertex and we'll count over 1 and up 3, and from there we'll count over 1 and up 9, and if we can, we'll count over 1 and up 15. We'll have run out of space on this graph, so we won't get this last part of the step pattern plotted, but that's okay. We can draw our axis of symmetry and reflect all of our known points on the other side of the axis. Our direction of opening is up. We can see this because we have an a value that's positive, but also because when we look at our parabola, we can see that the parabola has a minimum value at its vertex and is opening up. In our second graph, We will again be able to find the vertex by looking at what is inside of the brackets and making it its opposite sign for the x-coordinate. So we'll have an x-coordinate at the vertex of -1, and our y-coordinate will be 2. It's the k value again at the end of the equation. We'll use the step pattern and we'll look to what we need to multiply by. So our multiplier, our a value, is -2. This means that we are going to have a step pattern of 1 times -2 or -2, 3 times -2 or -6, and then 5 times -2 or -10. So we will use this step pattern. We'll begin at our vertex and we'll count over 1, down 2, then over 1 and down 6. And again, we'll run out of space, but if we could go over 1 and down 10 to find another point on our parabola. We'll draw our axis of symmetry and reflect the points. We can see that our direction of opening is down. We can see this from the graph, but we would also be able to tell this from our equation because the a value is -2, and when we have a negative a value, we know that the direction of opening will be down. So there's how we can use the vertex form of a parabola to create its graph.